everybody, welcome back to You Can't Win. This is Tom here, and I'm joined by Don as usual. Today we have returning guests, John V and Leo, the Pimp Chronicles boys. They're back, and we're just going to be chatting with them a bit, see how things are going. It's been a little bit since we've talked to them. So, yeah, how you guys doing?
We're good.
I'm great, man. I'm like cinnamon on toast.
Oh, yeah. I'm like creamed honey on toast with a little bit of hazelnut spread. That's how I'm
Oh, that
feeling
sounds
tonight.
good.
Yeah.
So you're
Brioche
having a grand
toast.
old time.
Yeah. I'm just a big, sugary, indulgent mess. That's what quarantine's turned me into.
How you guys holding up over the late quarantine? You guys putting on weight? You guys packing on muscle, prison style? You starving from your unemployment? What's going on?
I'm doing okay here. I'm taking walks regularly, and I'm trying to work out and stuff. I've been putting on weight the past couple years. I'm still not like big, but definitely got a little bit of a pooch, and trying to not have that inflate too much. So I'm holding down the fort basically.
Yeah.
Not big, just eating good.
Yeah, that's
Just
me.
eating good.
Yeah, I've actually been going for probably more walks than usual and stuff like that. But like, no, I need to. Yeah, I don't know. I need to exercise a bit more or something like that. Yeah. So, I don't know. I don't even have much of an excuse because this is just like, I'm normally locked down, so like it's just there's not like a lot going on. Like I should be on top of this, but yeah, I don't know. Eating a lot of pasta and stuff. Yeah.
I gotta say, I'm loving quarantine life. Just spending all day in my pajamas or whatever, and don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, I've become such a piece of shit. It's horrible. It's like I've gotten Stockholm syndrome. Like I really love the quarantine lifestyle now. And like exercise has helped me like convince myself that I'm staying productive. Like as long as I exercise and do a little bit of creative work and some reading, then I can just fuck off for the other 9 empty hours of the day and like research the sandwich with my old Columbia login on Oxford English Books Online. That's the depth that I've hit, actually.
Yeah, seeing the protests, I'm thinking about the second wave. I'm just like, bring it on, I'm ready for that.
Yeah, hell yeah, dude. Let's have a second wave. I've never wanted it to be real until now.
So how is living in the Bronx during all of this going now with the protests and that?
I've actually been borough hopping. A few weeks ago, I jumped ship from the Bronx and quarantined with my girlfriend here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, in fact. But the Bronx, while I was there, was hitting like a fever pitch of sorts. Like, there were a lot less people in masks. There was just, like, every few hours I would just hear somebody screaming in the streets, like a lunatic, just sort of like, just... But like without any kind of attack happening, without any signifier.
And that's unusual in New York.
Yes. That is unusual, at least in the Bronx. Yeah, I was going to all the food banks, and they've developed these like little crime syndicate-esque groups that kind of like swarm the food banks and like sort of line up in a group of 20 and like back a pickup truck right into the food bank. So things are getting brutal.
Wow. Were you out like at all at the protests and stuff, or is it just?
I have been miserably absent from them. I've been loving my stupid quarantine life so much. I feel kind of bad about it.
I don't know.
On the other hand, it's a bit of a young man's game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I drove by the really small protest. I just don't. I can't get arrested right now because I'm waiting on some other charges.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good call.
I mean, I'm just like, some fat dumbass kind of thing. Like, I feel like if I was at a protest, I would just, I don't know, wobble around and be like, I write jokes online sometimes and stuff, like, I don't know, wouldn't have much to contribute to the insurgency or whatever. So,
Well, you're smart though, so you could come up with some good rhyming chants.
Yeah, that's our only use in this fucking protest. We're basically like ad jingle men for the revolution.
Yeah.
I remember Rush Limbaugh making fun of the fact that, or I don't know if it was Rush Limbaugh or Gavin McInnes making fun of the fact that every protest they do the same. Hey, you, bad, don't do. We need a new melody for our protest anthems. Like, no, hey, this is the wrong way.
Yeah, throw a little Gary Glitter cadence on it. It's good.
Oh, Gary Glitter, colleague of mine.
My esteemed colleague, Mr. Glitter.
He was the first person to release a song that got people to think, what if a song was just the sound of people reacting to a song?
Yeah. You saw Joker, whatever, with the that was featured heavily in it.
Oh yeah, which I feel like, I mean, it's been like a glaring absence from culture ever since they stopped playing it at sports games. It really is. It's the best sports song. It's like pure yelling Neanderthal stupidity. It's great. Chugging power chords, single power chord.
Really, the only one that matches it is Zombie Nation. You know, tink tink, tink tink, zombie nation.
I don't know it, but I'm enjoying your rendition.
Yeah. You're selling me on it. Yeah,
you're really selling us.
It's a beloved sports song. It's if Evan was here, he could tell you all about it.
Evan sends his regards. The third pimp is absent again. He ordered his recording equipment like after our last appearance, and it still hasn't arrived.
Oh, that's all right. We'll just build up the hype, you know.
Yeah.
This
We have a podcast that doesn't exist, so that's cool.
Who is this man with no voice? But his podcast, it's real.
All the listeners, all the listeners have like their notepads out and they're just circling Evan and then writing question marks. Like,
what is it? Who could it be?
Yeah,
The head of the snake, right?
Oh, speaking of the head of the snake, did you guys hear that France killed the head of Al Qaeda in the Great Sahara?
No, I didn't hear that, but that's great. I guess they're able to do that every year or so. So the annual Al Qaeda killing, that's great.
Yeah,
they got Abdel Malik Drukdel in northern Mali, and just before they were complaining about the other jihadist group being mean to them, the Al Qaeda. They were like, they're arresting us. We're brothers. You can't do that. So obviously the French paid off the other local Malian Islamists to find this guy, and they neutralized him in French term.
They aerated his ass.
But if you look it up, he's a very funny looking guy. He's got these ziggurat shaped teeth that come out of his mouth like the pyramid, and they're very yellow. Just a very funny looking man.
Man, they're really scraping the bottom of the barrel these days. Remember the fat guy that they picked up?
Oh yeah, the big boy. He like the minister of finance or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. These don't sound like real threats to our security or anything. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I mean, I don't know really what's going on in Libya. I know it's like things are popping off, but there's so much other stuff going on. I feel like you can just have a little civil war and fly under the radar.
Yeah. Hard to be a marquee war in the Middle East, truly.
Yeah, that's going to be terrifying if that's what Trump does to try to pull it out of the fire in like October or something. I don't know. Just picks a country on a map at random and is like, we're at war with Colombia now or something. They're like, well, didn't expect that, but now he gets 60% of the vote. New York Times endorses him.
Just put Hillary in charge. Get her. She can't resist, so just get her to pick a country and invade it, and then blame her after it goes south.
Yeah.
I'm still expecting Trump to win, by the way. I know people are looking at it now like, people are really against Trump and stuff. I'm still expecting that.
I think those people are underestimating the power and number of votes of the people who received a check and then a letter from Donald Trump talking about the check. It really hammers it home, as long as you get it twice,
Mm-hmm.
I can't believe like how little Democrats have done in the last few weeks. I feel like this is gonna be the lowest turnout election in years. People are just gonna think, oh, well, I could go vote, but I could also stay home and
Smoke
convert
cigarettes and watch
convert
TV.
legal hemp into an RSO CBD tincture and sell that to my friends.
Yeah, Bernie too. He's been. I mean, it's not just like Biden and all those people. It's Bernie has kind of been disappeared too. Like, rest in peace to Bernie. Is he alive? Has anyone checked
I
on
don't
him?
know. Where is he?
I see him get retweeted sometimes, like a canceled, politics poster. Very sad.
Yeah, he
That guy's
released some
still
sort
around.
of some statement about like I don't know. He's been doing his thing as normal, but there's no like traction at all, so the news doesn't cover it at all. And he released a thing the other day saying that like I don't know, like one small thing of what he said was that the police need to have salaries that make sure they're like professionals or something like that kind of thing, which means that like in small towns or whatever, they should be paid well or something. That was just it. Anyway, so everyone kind of latched on that and was like, we don't need to pay the police more or whatever. And it's like, he's just like, I don't know, it's the same as like Corbyn. He's just some nice reformist guy who is going to say, give more money to everyone. So it's not like, I don't know, but people are kind of turning that into a Bernie is dead now because he loves the police or something. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Just let him do his thing.
that's something that that guy Chris Arnade, who wrote the shit. What did he write? Front row, back row America. I don't wanna scramble it because he follows me on Twitter and he's a good guy. Dignity. He did like a photo book and he just talked to to poor people around the country in McDonald's and stuff. And he was talking about how when he asked about the police, none of like the poor and the downtrodden ever said they wanted the police to not exist. They just wanted them to effectively police where they lived instead of randomly busting heads and killing people and messing up lives. Which is, I mean, I'd say that would be the same thing Bernie Sanders is asking for. It's just like he wants to reform. You don't jump from some decadent liberal thing without reforms that don't go far enough first. You don't just jump from this to full on communism. You actually have to try to fix this and succeed in trying and then have it fail in the end. That's what people don't see.
It's a culture of instant gratification, man. You can't have your revolution that easily.
All these kids
Yeah.
on their phones.
Yeah.
This is a cell phone. That means you talk to it and you go to jail.
Yeah, I don't know. It's that's one of the. There was actually an article about this I read before where they were talking about how a lot of the crime bill stuff and anti-gun stuff and a lot of the, stuff that ended up feeding into mass incarceration was promoted within black communities and stuff like that by black community leaders and stuff. And it was because, it was like, no, we are terrified of crime too and stuff. It's like destroying our communities and stuff. So that it's funny because that doesn't fit neatly into the narrative a lot of the time kind of thing. It's like, the fact that, the strategy didn't work and it's not like, it doesn't mean that it's good just because the community itself supported it, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. There's just some, I don't know. Anytime that the opinion changes too quickly on something, and kind of like becomes like a new thing that if you say anything against it, it's like sounds crazy. I get like I don't know. I get very antsy. I don't know. Yeah. So
Yeah, and this is the most glaring example of that, I think.
yeah.
It's kind of it's really piling on the psychosis for me. This sort of endless beratement I'm receiving, sort of anonymously. Like the tweets that pop into my fucking feed from the algorithm seem like they're tailored to yell at me. I get like tweets screaming about white Latinos kissing white ass and they're just all in caps, raving. 100,000 likes.
Yeah. Yeah, the likes are out of control.
This instant
Yeah.
gratification and like culture, man.
Yeah.
I'm kind of reminded of that thing like Zizek talks about where it's like what you need to do now is like learn, like not just act, that kind of thing. And I think a lot of people are just jumping to like, I know the answer. It's like, I don't think anyone just knows the answer right now, you know? I mean, be out there and protest and stuff, but I don't think like everyone's like galaxy brain take on like, oh well, this is the problem with this solution and the actual answer is this other thing or whatever. I don't know. I just don't put a lot of stock in that. It's things are changing so fast now. Like who knows, you know?
Well, and as they change so fast, then people who are sort of emotionally invested in being the most radical have to sort of skip ahead of where they were a few weeks ago, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then be like, well, abolish the police doesn't go far enough. We need to,
Abolish the fire department.
abolish the calendar and whatnot. So, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, what do you guys think of the whole idea of, there seems to be kind of debates about this with abolish the police is going to lead to private police and private security firms and all this kind of stuff, and that it'll actually be worse than having state-run police departments.
I've seen the libertarians gleefully jump onto this. I just don't think it's going to happen. And all these abolish slogans are pointless and they're counterproductive.
Yeah.
I heard a good piece of business jargon the other day where he said that a lot of people were Christmas treeing their ideas. Like now that things are all upside down, everybody's just being like, oh, this idea of mine, I'm going to put it up here. This plan, I'm going to put that up here. And this, we're going to change this. We're going to put that at the very top. And then we're going to plug it in and it's going to be perfect. But it's, I don't know. I don't think that anything, all the say a plan is serious enough to have somebody make a picture with text on it instead of it actually being text you can read, that status of the idea. The pictures of text are just like, this looks like a few people will make money doing de-escalation training for police and nothing much else is going to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like the abolish the police stuff. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't even really matter to me what people think about this either way. Like it's not like, I don't know. I'm kind of feel like I'm over arguing really hard about these kind of things because it's like I don't have any personal control over it. Is this going to happen or not? I'm not going to be the difference on this kind of thing, right? So, but the thing that is kind of annoying to me is that like it's becoming almost like the Medicare for all thing where everyone seems to be in favor of it, but they mean 10 different things.
Yeah.
And like the thing with that is that you see people, like for years, abolish the police to me was like anarchists and sort of like far left people who meant it like pretty clearly. They meant like, the police are illegitimate and we should not let them do what they do and all that kind of stuff, right? And now I see so many things that are like, oh, these trolls think that we mean get rid of the police right away, but really, the people that write on this stuff, I've always said that we want to, it's like a long process of changing our priorities and all that stuff. And I'm like, no anarchist thought it was a long process of changing their priorities. They thought it was if the police come to your door, you should tell them to screw off or something like that. It wasn't like I don't know. It's like there's a big gap between you are illegitimate and you're illegitimate, but for the next 10 years you'll just work a few hours less each month or something like that. Like I don't know. Like so
you'll be on a probationary period under a
taper
new
the police
term.
Yeah.
And these are 6 new rules you have to follow. That's what abolish the police means.
Yeah.
I kind of like the idea of like the most having the most radical statement, like when you're just shouting it in the street or whatever. It's like the most revolutionary thing you can think of, but then what you mean by it is like the most reformist thing. I think that's probably a very good strategy to go with.
Yeah. I don't know. but it does create that like competition for, as Tom would maybe call it within the herbaleft or whatever. Like it's like you kind of have to, the people that sort of staked out the radical chic position of abolish the police months ago, and feel like they're kind of being outstripped by reality, have to then kind of think, where are we going to go from here? And so they have to kind of nitpick with the debate and then go further or something somehow. So I'm kind of interested to see where that'll go, like where the radical chic will kind of go beyond abolish the police into some sort of thing about like, I don't know. I don't even know where it would go, but yeah. So
just like balkanize the United States or something, like states' rights.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, crazy times. I'm sure like all this will be dwarfed by whatever the next crisis is next month. I mean, who knows? Aliens land, and then we're just like, we're fighting the revolution against XCOM style.
Oh man, I hated Star Wars. Now I gotta do it.
People are going to be arguing we need like female leadership to defeat the alien armies and stuff.
Yeah. No alien bombed the ghetto or something. Yeah, like, people who would join them and stuff, and yeah.
Actually, Attack the Block is one of the worst movies because it's saying that aliens would target some of the most marginalized communities rather than centers of power, such as banking and financial buildings in downtown districts.
Yeah, I really didn't appreciate the anti-alien sentiments in that film, to be frank. Really rubbed me the wrong way. That's a yikes.
Have you guys seen the new XCOM game? So, the old XCOM games, they were always like, you just viciously exterminate the aliens. They're mindless, like just demonic kind of things. But the new game is like 10 years after you've liberated Earth from the alien occupation or whatever. And now it's like a mixed kind of multicultural thing. So there's like aliens living with the humans, and they're like wearing human clothes, and there's even like some scene where there's like an alien that like works as like a stripper or whatever to show like there's even like kind of like ghettoized aliens and all this kind of stuff. So I can just kind of see the alien invasion happens, and then there's people arguing for like oh, we need to live together, and don't be anti-alien, be racist against them, all that kind of stuff.
Just because the aliens' pheromones cause strokes doesn't mean we should disinclude them from our meetings. We simply need biological barriers between us, but not mental barriers.
Don't be xenophobic.
Don't be xenophobic. Don't resist the hive mind link up.
Although I guess xenophobic is already a term. We need a new one.
Yeah. What is it? What do they call What do they call aliens in the Heinlein book, Starship Troopers?
Oh, bugs?
Yeah, it's just like, don't be bugophobic, man.
Yeah.
Where do you guys stand on alien invaders? Do you think we should welcome them with open arms, or should we neutralize them upon contact?
I stay out of everything. I'm just doing my thing. I'm gonna just be trolling people on Twitter. Making little nice meals for myself at home, playing Civilization 6, making my salah. That's all I'm doing.
Yeah, man, quarantine forever. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I'm all about the 1,000-year Reich of quarantine.
Yeah, I did my stint in the Bronx. Now I'm just quarantined here, and I think about nice dinners I can make, and then I get stoned and fuck them up.
Have you had any fun adventures with stone cooking like that?
Oh yeah. Like the moment I got here, I made shakshuka in an oven for the first time, because this is a much nicer apartment than my hovel in the Bronx that is surrounded by screaming men. And when I took the pan out, I forgot that things in the oven are hot. So I just burned all the fucking skin off of my left hand.
Oh, man.
I hope that's not the hand that you jack off with.
It actually is. It's terrible.
I didn't know you were left-handed, man. I'm left-handed too. That's good to know.
Yeah, that means we're creative. That means we're indigo children, you and I. That's why we're so good at broadcasting.
Oh man, did I ever tell you guys about my great idea? It's called the Indigo Child Ambulance, and it's
It's like the Hasidic like sect ambulance that only picks up Jewish people.
yeah, and the flashing light is indigo, and it picks up indigo children when they're feeling stressed out because people are they're talking too loudly and have like bad energy in public.
Yeah, and
So
they're
you
like
just-
inflaming
you
their
dial-
empathy. Yeah.
You dial 71771, and it's got a different siren too, and it's more like.
Yeah, it's like the guy from Erasure. Yeah.
Yes, and you slide back, and it's so comfortable back there. They play massage parlor music that just the soft chimes with the bird songs.
Yeah, and they have like the Chinese like framed waterfall glowing in the background.
Oh God, those are art.
Those
how
are
do they do it?
beautiful.
How do you make water flow inside a pane of glass?
I don't know, man. That's why they're the Chinese, you know? That's why they call them the Chinese.
That is why they call them the Chinese.
That's my David Mamet line of this podcast. Thank you.
See, this is the kind of like concrete policy recommendations we need instead of abolish the police, you know?
Yeah, seriously. You need cogent arguments, man.
Change police uniforms on a seasonal basis to reinvest in American garment manufacturing.
Yeah, bring back Fashion Night Out with just cops. That's basically what Soho is right now, you know?
What do you guys think about these the counter protesters with the fake Delta Force gear? Do you think that's pretty cool?
Oh, yeah, all those violent fans of Les Claypool just walking around with spiked bats. It's fucking terrifying.
I don't know if I should say this, like we can cut this out, but people should false flag as those guys and start shooting at the cops and like start a war between
No,
them.
they leave this in. Absolutely. That is an amazing idea, Tom.
I'm basically, I'm of two minds. Like I have one idea, which is like cops should be deathly afraid of everything. Like we should be IEDing them. They should be scared of walking by parked cars and like, oh my God, there's a garbage bag on the ground there. Like they need to have severe PTSD so that they just have to like stay home and they're just terrified of everything. But then I'm also like, oh, but we also need to be like really forgiving and merciful. We need to offer them like a way out of like this kind of evil lifestyle and stuff. So we have to be able to like terrorize them on one end and then offer them like mercy on the other side. So I don't know. I'm completely schizophrenic on this.
That's the carrot and the stick.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah. I like I'll talk to Tom about like peace building and the need for like to try to find some way to reach across divisions without just surrendering and all that. But then I like see a picture of like groups of police and I'm like, you know, a mortar round could really do some damage right there.
Yeah. Stephen Paddock, number 2.
Yeah.
Electric Boogaloo.
So, I don't know.
I feel like if a set of Bugs Bunny style booby traps for the police would be one of the best ways to stop them if you were a protester. Like you paint a fake protest on a wall and you get the police to do that. You know when they bash the shields and they go oh they try to charge the protesters.
Yeah.
You get them all to run into
they thwap
into
right
a
onto
wall,
that.
and there's a little tripwire and they just fall into a pit on top of each other.
Yeah. I like that. And then like you could like drop an anvil on them from the window.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, you can put on a dress and lipstick and sort of
you
lure
want-
them in, seduce them.
Yeah.
well, yeah, that's always gonna work. That's classic.
You know I got that on lock, that strategy.
That's what I forget what that book is called, but it's by that Russian aristocrat who was he was one of the people who killed Rasputin, and he talked about how he and his friends would dress up as women and go to the officers clubs, like the army officers clubs, and seduce them, and then they'd be like, psych, I'm a guy. And they were also into like mysticism and occulticism, so like they'd go from getting fucked by an army officer to doing a seance to talk to Ivan the Terrible or whatever. They're a lot like the most annoying people on Twitter, but they were real aristocrats.
Yeah, they were inexplicably very powerful.
Russia's a wild place, man.
Yeah.
It's people without a culture, man. They've struggled.
They were like commanding the war at the same time, like sending hundreds of thousands of people to their deaths, and then being like, you know,
Hey boys.
I don't know. You kind of wonder where that, you know, system of government went. You know, it seems more efficient than what we've got now. I don't know. So
Yeah, I something I did see on Twitter that was kind of funny was somebody posting emails from their boss who had never encountered a situation that she couldn't like positive think her way out of in business terms, like, oh, this is a win-win, this is the team's on the 1 yard line, we gotta push it through. She's like, well, police violence is bad, but police protect us, and if we support the protesters, do we also support? And it just the cognitive dissonance of your general fully immersed in business type of person is pretty funny to witness.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool to see them just be rendered totally irrelevant, like all their status and stuff just means nothing, you know?
They're very confused.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, though, you kind of have to figure out how to get those kind of people, I don't know, like just changed or doing something different or figuring out the world different or something. I don't know, because there is like a tendency, especially, I mean, I just see it on Twitter because that's where I spend a lot of time, but like of, people being like, it's like they're doing some sort of like Terminator scan, trying to figure out what the weaknesses of a person is to know why they're the ultimate worst racist or something, or like the ultimate worst person. And it's like, I don't know. It's just like at the end of the day, you can easily prove someone is bad. I don't know. It's not like, but you kind of have to like, I don't know. You have to figure out like any politician, any activist, anyone kind of thing. They're like, it gets this really weird groupthink thing where like they just try to, I don't know, pulverize people online and stuff. I don't know what to do with that. So
this person is bad, obviously, because they have an American flag at their house. But what do you do from there? Like, what do you do once you've established that the enemy is the enemy?
yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
I think we should arrange like a little competition for them. We get them on like on the beach, on the Atlantic Ocean or whatever, and just see who can swim the farthest from the shore, and just keep going, guys. Keep going, and then whoever swims the farthest wins, and then maybe they come back, maybe they don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
well.
a really good way to weed them out. I like that.
Yeah.
That's how you get a second Atlantis, and I believe
the woke Atlantis. Holy shit! Yeah,
they all just arrive at Atlantis and they're like, "Wow, this was awesome! We found Atlantis. This place is great. Everyone's just like us. They think exactly like we do. It's perfectly peaceful and harmonious. What a happy land!"
And thanks to the high acidity in this ocean, the development of gills took mere months.
I think we got a sci-fi novel brewing here, fellas. This is pretty good.
Well, it was actually a tie-in with Wonder Woman 2. They built a $400 billion island as part of their marketing. And
the world development in Dubai. That's the answer to this. See, if you say you win an election, you get to govern the main country, but you lose, you get that piece of sand in Dubai, and you're allowed to do whatever you want there, like nuclear missile, growing cocaine, anything you want to do on the pretend world off the coast of Dubai. That way you don't have the incumbent party so strong. There's always going to be like a Joker type, a Jared Leto's Joker type figure to come and cause trouble.
Yeah. We speaking of which, I think Jared Leto is the guy that could be that. So we need to keep an eye on him. He's got that cult, you know.
We do.
Oh yeah, I've always got eyes on Jared Leto, man. Don't worry about that.
Jared Leto's he's always got his eyes on something like a giraffe's neck, or maybe a birch tree, something very narrow, because his eyes are very closely set together.
Yeah, he's always up to something, that guy. I don't know.
He honestly has some kind of Nexium sex cult, but no, I don't know too much about it.
What, like a multi-level marketing scheme cult, or like an actual sex cult?
It's like a real women's empowerment sex cult that he runs. He's one of those entertainment figures with the spooky ties, and he's the less talented entertainers who stick around despite not being very good, and then you figure out,
and they try everything. They do like acting, rock band, and fucking sex cult. You know, just go down the list.
It's a crazy day and it's a crazy night. That's what I think.
Crazy days and nights, man. You've been on that tip a lot.
If anybody hasn't read that, crazydaysandnights.net, they've got the best blind items in the world of gossip. He's some kind of entertainment lawyer or music lawyer, and like half of his crazy blind items are true. My favorite one is the one about Steven Spielberg compiling a dossier of thousands of children and teenagers, supposedly for his Grease remake, but he's rumored to be a really noxious pedophile who's just a lot smarter than like the Epstein pedophiles. Like, he's the guy who took his boat to the island so his name wouldn't be on the records. I think Spielberg is he's way too tuned into childhood innocence and like the stories that light up a child's mind to be an innocent man.
Yeah, I just assume that like every director who made a movie in the 80s is just a horrible pedophile.
That's a safe assumption, yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, some of them were they were on a lot of coke at the time. They didn't know one from the other.
That's true, yeah.
Let's cut some of them slack.
Just fucking everything and like, whoops, that was a kid. All right, well, let's move on.
Oh yeah, speaking, there was a series of shows on the USA Network in the early 80s, and they were all about like teens and younger kids doing whatever. The most notorious one was about kids who inherit, I don't know if it's their grandfather or their parents' ice cream shop, and they're on the beach, and the show for some reason was shot in a theater setting with the lights really bright on the cast wearing bikinis and stuff, and the audience was just full of executives and writers and various Hollywood pedophiles jacking off, and they would take the cast members away to fuck them between takes. Like, it was the debauched Hollywood gross shit at its peak. The USA Network. It also brought you Denver, the Last Dinosaur, which the creator says is an allegory for the one of the only English samurais.
I think I came within like narrow inches of that kind of culture when I moved to New York. I was like 17 and I had just like moved out of my car into an actual apartment, and this guy at my gym who was like really lascivious, and I was sure he was trying to pick me up, named Dan Spinner, gave me his card and asked me if I wanted to be in a nativity scene for like a party. And yeah, so I go to 20 Green Street to some like fashion magazine party, and I see a pen with other guys who are clearly under 18 and lying, and they're all shirtless, and I get shirtless too, and we all get oiled up and stand there for 3 hours in like a tableau vivant, like nativity scene, while all these extremely rich people wearing like more expensive clothes than I've ever seen in my life just like sip at Dom Perignon and like sort of stare at us listlessly.
Wow.
Yeah, that was my first New York City job, baby.
At what point did that feel like there's something up here? This isn't right.
Oh, yeah, right when I got there. Yeah, when I saw all the teenage boys oiled up in a pen like animals, I said, yep.
Yeah.
And you were just like, shit. Whoops.
Yeah, I'm already here. I already got a little ID badge. I'm going to wear it on my chest.
It's going to be one of those nights.
Yeah.
It'd be better if it was like 2 hours in that you realized something was wrong.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
You're like, wait a minute, this nativity scene doesn't seem accurate.
Yeah, everybody's half naked
Jesus
and ripped.
was handcuffed and beaten with a studded paddle. I think it was a spear. I don't think it was a paddle. It's not accurate.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, when I looked at that guy's resume after he had worked, he had catered for Hillary Clinton. That's all I'm saying. Just leaving that out there.
Shocking stuff.
Yeah. In some alternate universe, you could be her like secretary or something like that.
Oh yeah, that would have been the
in
life.
the White
man.
House. Yeah.
You could be a male Huma Abedin, and since you were tech savvy due to your use of internet forums, you could have advised her to stay on encrypted communications. She'd be the president. Bashar al-Assad would have been killed about a week ago.
Carlos Danger would be free today, texting teenagers without a care in the world.
Probably some kind of nuclear exchange with Russia. I mean, I think we'd just be having a good time at it. But one thing I do want to say about these protests is that it seems like the kids are having a really good time. So that's good.
Yeah.
That's why I've been wary of going like more than once, because it seems like all these kids are having a great time. They all go to the same college, you know.
Yeah,
They all lived in the same dorm for the past 4 years, taking selfies together. I shouldn't be here. I feel like I'm at a dorm party, you know?
Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Like,
No, that's a good thing. It's a great thing.
Everybody's just cooling out. Have they ever led to success, or does every protest need to be like a violent clash? I don't know too much about the history of that.
I think it depends what else is going on, like around the protests, you know? I think that's the key thing, not so much like the nature of the protests themselves.
Yeah, because I was really active in the Eric Garner, Michael Brown shit when I was in college, and it was nothing like this, like, because nothing else was going on. This was sort of like, you know, luxury protesting almost, you know, like no one was getting beaten up. They weren't a honeypot for brutality. It wasn't like sacrilege to not go. Things were very different. I think now the fever pitch is really creating all of this dissonant discourse and whatnot.
It's weird because it seems like police are they're more wary, but I don't think they're more afraid, because they seem to have reached like a level of constant terror after Rodney King, and then just every day before they go out there, sergeants tell them that somebody with a sniper rifle is probably going to kill them today. So they're not more afraid. It's just like, I don't know. There's a strange in between feeling.
Yeah, I honestly don't know what the psychology of a cop is these days. It's very hard to get into like see things from like what, I don't know, just to imagine their perspective, I guess.
Yeah.
They definitely see themselves as like a victim, I think.
Didn't you guys talk on a past episode about the cops in Weimar, Germany, who were just fighting the Nazis because what they were doing was against the law, but they had no other ideology other than just being police? It's just like, this is against the law, so I'm going to stop it. And that's really as far as their thinking went.
Yeah, I remember what you're saying. Like Tom was saying that. Yeah, that like, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. It's one of those things where, the police seem to have gotten themselves down a weird road in like a cul-de-sac of just total rage and, feeling like they're an army that's fighting some final battle or something like that kind of thing against good and evil. And yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where you're going to have to, at some point, you're going to have to fracture that coalition and make it so that there's just police that just are like boring public servants again or something like that or something, you're going to have, yeah.
I like that thing. I don't, obviously England they have their own problems with police, but they have separate police that do like traffic stuff and that they aren't involved with criminal investigations, and they just deal with like municipal conduct. I feel like splitting the police up into those roles would be helpful.
Yeah, something like that. I mean, it's one of those things though that like you kind of have to break the power of that thin blue line kind of thing. Like you have to somehow make it so that they don't feel like they're all part of some single unit that is constantly under attack, that or else you're just not going to be able to, I don't know. I can't imagine right now feeling like I don't know, like having just normal police problems in a city kind of thing, like what the police are thinking or whatever, like just, stuff like traffic violations and all that stuff that you're talking about. Like it seems like right now they're on like a strange war footing that like is almost completely separate from what they should be doing anyway. So
yeah, and I imagine they resent like the population at this point, where they, like if someone has a problem and comes to them, they're just like, fuck you, we don't care, like you were throwing rocks at us, so blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of making them like boring public servants. I think we should like outfit all the cops in like mailman uniforms, make them carry like the little bag. Yeah,
I think they should have very inconvenient outfits that are just difficult to run in and difficult to like move around in, like almost like a really puffy,
like an old like Victorian
snowsuits.
Dress. Yeah.
Every cop has to wear a heavy wool cloak, and their division badge is the brooch that holds it.
A really big
beautiful.
floppy hat that it's always in their face.
The color and length of the feather denotes their rank and role within the police.
They have a really long cape, pointy shoes that stick out like half a foot.
Yeah, like those Mexican boots with that curl up at the end. Style.
Yeah.
And their cars have to have limiters that only go like 30 miles an hour or something.
Because the worst thing you can do to a cop is it's not to call them a pig, it's to unroll their rolled up elf boots and nail the ends of the boots down to the ground so they can't get away.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. The Hong Kong method.
Oh. Hong Kong Fooey, what do you think he would be doing in this protest? Do you think he'd be at home taking care of his son, Augie Doggy, or would he be out standing up against injustice?
I think he'd be swinging that guitar around and bashing people over the head with it.
Yeah,
or am I
man,
thinking of someone else?
That
is Quick Draw McGraw, my friend.
El Kabong from the Critic.
Oh, yeah.
All right, yeah, separate guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Who's that? The cartoon horse with the mule friend? Him?
Fuck.
BoJack Horseman?
No. Yeah, so I don't know. Should we get to questions at this point?
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we're on gold right now. We might as well keep digging.
Okay, well, if you have something more you want to add.
I'd like to talk about Quick Draw McGraw.
I feel like you're confused here. El Kabong and Quick Draw McGraw are the same guy. I thought you were doing a bit, but I just want to clarify this.
Well, that's his alter ego.
Yeah, that's right. Yin and yang.
Yes. I don't remember the cartoons I just remember like enjoying the bashing with the guitar. Like that was fun.
Yeah, like the warm 70s colors and the stupid loud crashing noises. It was very comforting. All those shows. Hong Kong Fooey and the ape for sale in the fucking window. That was the cruelest one. Magilla Gorilla, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that one maybe not aged so well.
Do you think Magilla the gorilla had racial overtones?
Just animal rights is a big thing nowadays.
Oh, they want the animals to vote and all that.
I do not think that Magilla Gorilla should vote. I'm sorry.
I was having a good conversation with my friend who works in the menswear industry about the ideal, like, so I saw a still or something from the My Chemical Romance singers Netflix show called The Umbrella Academy, and there's a chimp wearing a suit. I don't know if he's a teacher at this academy. I haven't watched the show, but it wasn't flattering at all. It looked absurd. So I was trying to think about the ideal proportions of men's suiting you'd put on a chimpanzee or a gorilla to have them look as dignified as possible if they're going to do some prestigious occupation in society.
Well, I've
And
seen some of these viral videos of like chimps wearing human clothing, like pet chimps that are like owned by like Chinese or Saudi rich people and stuff, and they look better in them than I do. So
I want to live in a culture where that's a sign of wealth. I really like that. That's something I want to strive towards. Is a clothed, very advanced marsupial.
yeah, I just hope they're taking care of them and they know what they're doing and stuff. You know, I just kind of
Yeah, no, yeah. I hope
feeding
it's a
them
bubble
with a stick.
situation. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Not doing. I mean, I'm just concerned that like they just have enough money to buy whatever they want, and then the animal doesn't. You know, maybe they don't understand what kind of a habitat or whatever that they need. Yeah,
yeah, that's like 95% of the exotic pet trade is oil money people and drug dealers. They're not exactly animal welfare specialists, but they do it better than a few people, like say Dick Cheney, who was in charge of an ape named George W. Bush.
Oh,
Boom.
no more monkeys
Yeah.
jumping on the bed.
I miss the days when we were saying the president looked like a chimp, and then, you know,
Yeah.
Obama got elected, and we couldn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
They take everything away from us, guys.
They do. They really do. They took everything, man. I had 9 cars. I had $9 million. I don't know, laundromat. They took everything. All right, let's get to questions. Let's see what the public wants to know.
Yeah. Do you want any lead-in music? I got some synths plugged in here.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
please. That would be
Play
awesome.
us in,
Alright.
baby.
Here we go. Let's evoke curiosity here. Let's see. Is that coming through?
Yep.
Oh, great.
All right, cacophonous.
Yeah, there we go. It's cool. I felt like one of those silent DJs, you know, at those lame parties where they all wear headphones in the park with pillows.
Yeah, like what was the guy that just did the Black Lives Matter techno thing? That video was going around. It was pretty funny. He like dedicated it to like Martin Luther King or something like that.
Oh God, I don't
I
know.
love European.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. That's worse than the Martin Luther King Bitcoin guy, I think, bringing techno into this.
Shout out to Bob Marley.
I once knew a fellow from Portland who got a PhD in techno. I've always been mystified by that. 7 years of writing about techno. You have to defend a dissertation about techno. There's probably techno enthusiasts who are your opponents intellectually.
I hope his dissertation is all written in like techno lyrics, kind of, you know, that sort of language, you know.
Like, love will lift you up.
Like citing
Higher.
different songs.
Rise up, rise up.
I feel all right.
Whoa, maybe these protests are all because of the popularity of EDM and everybody just internalized those very generic positive messages like rise up. keep your eyes wide. You know, all the vocal vamping and the techno songs.
It'd be fun if Tucker Carlson or whoever started like talking about what a menace these songs are. You know, they're programming our youth to.
Electric dance music.
They are
It's fun.
sequencing. They're looping.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, here's the first question. Do you like Alan Watts as a theologian? So everyone here is familiar with Alan Watts, I assume?
Yes.
Yes, enough.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Well,
I remember a vaguely Orientalist
he was,
thing here.
He was the guy who introduced Zen into Western culture, right? Like that's basically his thing.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say he introduced it or something, but that's definitely like in his lane, that kind of thing. Very new agey sort of stuff.
Well, I mean, you got to say that's a massive failure, since that sort of like the Western Buddhism is the emptiest, worst of all the religions.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, I gotta say, but if people get something out of it and you're not like a CEO that's like using it to like for labor discipline or something, then whatever. I don't really care.
You really need to be mindful at your job. You need to be mindful of doing your job while you're at your job.
Jobfulness.
I think it's like a perfect like early 20s thing though to read. Like I think that, I read it at that age and it helped a lot in terms of, like I saw a quote of his the other day that was like trying to like blow your mind. That was like, oh man, you're a bag of skin. Do you know that? Or something like that kind of thing. And it's like, yeah, I get that. Like at the time when I was like 23 or something, I was like, God damn, I'm a bag of skin. This is blowing my mind, man. So,
We're all meat, brother. We're all meat.
yeah. And then, I don't know. I think that's fine. And then, yeah, I do think it did sort of create that whole tendency of thinking that like Buddhism is somehow just like existentialism for, it's like the only religion where there's no actual religion involved or something like that kind of trend.
Yeah.
And I think that if you like went to shrines in like China or Japan or something, they would just get very confused at that idea. They'd be like, no. They're like, you don't worship your ancestors? Like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. So
Yeah, I imagine like Buddhists, like actual Buddhists, probably find that stuff as annoying as like I find the kind of like New Age Sufism and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, this seemed like a good time to bring it up. I was thinking of, I've been looking for direction lately, kind of, rudderless in quarantine. I was thinking at the end of the show, I could flip a coin, and if it's heads, I go Islam. If it's tails, I go Catholic with Don. What do you guys think of this?
all right, yeah, sounds good. Just give me time
Sure.
to like, pray and make sure that
Oh, that's
say,
right.
like, hey, there's a coin flip going on. Just make sure this goes the right
Yeah,
way.
you guys both need like a prayer break. That's true.
Is that not what happened with the legend of the Khazar Khanate, where he called in the Christian and he called in like the Christian priest, and he called in a Muslim and Jewish, and they're like, okay, which religion is the best one? Which one's the original one? Which one is the most
Yeah, which one's the
effective
OG? Yeah.
at letting me defeat the enemies? And well, the Christian and the Muslim had to agree that like, oh, Judaism came first and we took some of our stuff from them. So he's like, all right, the Khanate is now Jewish. And you get a lot of crazy conspiracies spiraling off of that. But that happened. It happened.
Shit, I thought it was my cool idea. It's very depressing to hear this has been done.
No, everything has to repeat itself 1,000 times within the time wave.
That's true. Ecclesiastes, I read that one. I actually did.
This is a different story from the one where the Russians were going to adopt Islam, and then they learned that you can't eat pork or drink alcohol, and they're like, okay, never mind. We're going Christian. But yeah, it's fun to imagine that from from like our modern perspective, because it's almost impossible to understand that as anything other than like a reality game show kind of a thing, where it's like he's got like a stage and all the contestants are standing there. He's like, "You've been invited to convert the Khazars," you know. Okay, so we'll do the coin flip at the end of the show, or maybe on another episode or something. We'll continue on with
Yeah,
the
we'll have
questions
to save that one. You guys got to get your prayers in. I want this to be an even fight.
Okay, yeah, sounds good. All right, how should I spend my time on Earth? I don't want a meaningless job or to have dumb conversations. Well, I think those are your two options.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the more meaningful your job is and the more meaningful conversations you have, like the worse you're gonna end up materially. Like you'll end up with some kind of terrible health problem, and you'll be living in a truck. So really, you gotta choose one of the two. Either you do some kind of stupid job, but you can hang out and talk about like the nature of reality, or you choose the other road, and you're having like really lame conversations about the weather and about the Detroit Lions and stuff, but your job is really cool. Like you're a specialist communicator to the Armenian space program or something.
Yeah, and all your coworkers are like similarly displaced people who don't know how to talk either, and you have to like be with them after work because your job's so good it goes on too long and like spills over.
Yeah, it's about the balance, I think.
Yeah, I think it's better to have a shitty job that you want to leave at 3 p.m. and then you have a good life to get to.
Yeah, I mean, as always, you have to apply the dialectic.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say that you got to understand this world is a trial. We're not in paradise yet, so it's going to be like that. Yet it's not going to be all fun and games. So you just got to, this is just a little blip. Eternity's waiting.
Wow.
Okay. Best dog breed.
I had a Cocker Spaniel as a kid, and I really liked them. I think they're so cute.
Very floppy-eared dog.
Yeah.
I like a good like beagle mutt, like a really pathetic dog that has kind of like a human-looking beard. You know, I've had a few of those. They always have like health problems. You know, you need to help them go to the bathroom. Can't even do that. I'm a big fan.
Is that
of
a
those
Jewish
dogs.
thing to have like dogs with medical problems? That's been a thing I've noticed, like a pattern.
I think it is. Yeah.
I think it's an like an upper middle class thing where you can afford to pay your animal's medical bills, and you don't just have to put them down the first time you get, oh, your dog's got cancer. You like instead you spend $6,000 on treatment a year.
Yeah. Miami's basically like a jungle, so like I just came onto these like injured animals because they wandered onto my apartment complex at some point, you know.
Okay.
Like it's just an endless horde of like, you know, diseased dogs and kicked out, you know, stray cats.
I love a good old fashioned mutt. Now all the mutts are like half Chihuahua, half pit bull. I'm not into that, but the old fashioned type of mutt, like Tom Sawyer might hang around with this type of mutt. I like that. And as for purebred dogs, I love the Airedale. They were bred by Cornish miners to fight, like do dog fighting, and to pull otters out of their holes in riverbanks so that the miners could eat the otters.
Shit.
And that's, I mean, and it produces an aggressive dog that doesn't like other dogs or children, but if you train them, they're great, and they're very cute. You might even say they're kawaii disune.
Yeah, I guess I have an affinity for beagles because my grandfather hunts with beagles in Finland. But
Wow.
I really like all dogs. I kind of like that there's such a wide variety. I think that's really cool that you have like, you know, they just look really different. They have different personalities and stuff. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
That is cool. My grandfather, he bred beagles and hunted with them.
Cool. Yeah, another similarity between us, Leo.
Yeah, this us blonde semi-Nordic types. We're basically all the same.
Yeah, I guess so. All right. Tom, what can we do as a society to combat the rise in racism against Laplanders and Sami people? Well, get out there and protest, start beating up the cops, Sami lives matter, all that kind of stuff.
Targeted bombings.
Yeah.
You could set up barrels in your pubs and stuff to collect money for the Sami. Get like the SRA and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, you go to a meeting of the dairy board for your state, and they got their nice tall glasses of milk at the podium, right? They're gonna show off the merchandise. Here's what you do. In an epic prank style, you replace that with reindeer milk. And when everybody's gotten, say, about halfway through, you burst through the doors, you shove the security men aside, you say, "Oh, you think that's cow's milk?" And then you just let a herd of reindeer rush in, and you do the Sammy chant, just like that, and you bang a little drum. I think that's gonna turn a lot of people onto the cause.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
Like a femin PETA style protest.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, we solved that one.
Yeah, you know what? Whenever there's a really oddball question, I know Leo has the exact
Yeah,
answer
he's
for
your
it.
man, for certain.
I'm a problem solver.
All right, so why did Marx call the French Commune the prototype for a revolutionary government in the future, and was he right?
Is this a homework?
Yeah,
question?
this is You Can't Win After Dark. You can't hit me with these.
Because it was I don't know. He had a lot of like weird ideas about this. I think that like it's stuff that's like blows your mind the first time you read it, and then after a while you kind of go, wait a minute. Like one of it is that like they were a working body, so that the commune was both like implementing the work and coming up with the decisions and stuff, and were sort of like workers that were deciding on things. I think that sort of blew people's minds maybe like in the mid 19th century. Like mid to late 19th century, like that was like a big, innovation that you didn't just have. But we have like professional bureaucrats a lot now, and it's not like, I don't know, like it's like there's a lot of like weird ideas mixed into it. I think that the big idea too was that like, they were delegated so that they could be recalled at any time, and they have recall like, mechanisms that you can kind of set up and stuff. I'm not sure that would, I don't know, like just limits on representation and stuff are not necessarily going to produce a radical outcome. I don't know. There's a lot of these ideas that just because they were the first time that it was tried, a lot of it seemed like shocking and new, and like it was going to solve the problem, but like it did not. I don't know. So I don't know. I think it's still like a exciting thing to see like a city kind of self-governing and all that, and like trying to solve its problems democratically instead of just having like one guy in charge or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Marx was still writing when there were monarchs in power, and so you can see how that stuff would have been more exciting then than it is after the Fordism and the bureaucratic state and all that stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, if you read stuff like in the Communist Manifesto and stuff, he's saying like he like makes a comment offhand near the end, I think, where it's like saying about how the United States is already so democratic or something, and that was like mid 19th century United States. So it's like I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I've seen people kind of like quoting Lenin on like getting rid of the police and all that kind of stuff from like early 1917, which I think is kind of funny just because he he like immediately reversed himself on all of that as soon as he got into power. It wasn't like it was just like it doesn't. I don't know. Like it's like he thought this was good or whatever, and it's like but he had like secret police like a few months later. It's like I don't know. Yeah, he kind of. It's not like I don't know. I don't know how he would have himself been like that was kind of dumb of me to say or something. If you asked him 2 years later, it wouldn't have been like It's just because he's famous. It's just that's all it is, right? It's like he's the famous revolutionary guy, so what he said must be right. I don't know. So yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I still love him.
Okay, next question here. Will Get Fiscal ever post at a blog or Medium or something? The complete Troll Academy stuff.
Oh, the complete? No, I think a lot of them are deleted anyways already. But like,
You're really about
I don't know.
impermanence with your work. You love destroying your masterpieces. You're like Serge Gainsbourg.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny to do that. I think it's funny to, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, but you have
Yeah,
an endless
and,
depth of wit. Most of these assholes can't even tell a single joke. This is where your privilege is showing.
I got messages the other day from people that were saying that I should create like a real Troll Academy thing or something. Like, and I don't know. I feel like the second that I kind of take too many steps in that direction, it just I pretty soon I would just be a psycho who was like I don't know, charging like a Svengali or something or whatever. Like
You'd have a line of nutritional supplements and
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
trolling masterclass like alpha trolling brain.
Trolling
it's got
Dianetics.
ashwagandha.
Yeah. Have like a volcano on the cover and stuff. Yeah.
That book was powerful. When I was a kid, my friend Chris, his parents were divorced, and his mom would always leave Dianetics out in the house in a conspicuous place, and it was almost like the bejeweled Quran with the velvet cover on a little pedestal. It just like there was something special in that book.
Yeah. I remember all the like TV shows that they had like a, what do you call it about it? Like a infomercial about Dianetics everywhere. And yeah, it was strange because it was very, very, it was like really, really high energy and stuff, but it also was not clear what was going on at all.
Yeah,
So
the
it was
vagueness was extreme.
Yeah. You're like, if I get the volcano book, my life will improve, but I'm not quite sure how and stuff. Yeah, so.
Oh, speaking of Dianetics, guess which famous prosecutor was a Scientologist for multiple years in the 1980s? Anybody got a guess? Marsha Clark of the O.J. Simpson trial.
Really?
Oh, really? Yeah, wow.
Star-studded
She was
cast.
married to some screenwriter or an actor who was a Scientologist, and so she converted, and she was a member of the church. I don't know how she got out without, the targeted harassment that they do, but she was a real deal. She was bona fide. I don't know what her OT level was, but she was in the mix.
Yeah.
Spooky.
And maybe, I mean, I'm not gonna do an alternate history thing here, but let's say she stays in the church and her OT level goes up and up. She learns several new techs, some incredible techs. OJ is not gonna pull a fast one over her with the glove and all the racial incitement. Like she's gonna be operating at a mental level beyond the greatest chess grandmasters.
Yeah. He could have, she could have done e-meter on him, like on the stand and stuff, like gotten special permission to like bring in the new tech and stuff, and really.
Yeah, the jurors would see it right then and there. The lying when the e-meter told the secrets of his soul. Not his soul, the thetan that was inside his body, controlling him like a puppet.
But then somehow he would still get off because they would like judge that it wasn't actually him. It was like the thetan that was trapped in him. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
All roads lead to Rome, baby.
Yeah.
I used to just hang outside the Scientology building in Berlin, which is this amazing Bauhaus building. It's like one of the only nice buildings in Berlin. I would just watch the people come in and out, and they were like the most decrepit, like oldest German aristocrats you could imagine, like their skin melting off. Like they've sort of lost their country and their ideology, so they had to turn to thetans now, you know?
Yeah.
It's great how much the old evil German and European, Central European, Western European, their elite. It's great how much they worship death and horror and just how ghastly and monstrous they are inside.
Yeah.
They're a real hoot.
That's why they're so mild-mannered, you know? They're all like really, really deeply evil. There's just a black hole there.
It's dark and it's black. And speaking of black books and dark messages, I got a message for the Portland Scientology Center, which is also in a very nice, it's like an Art Deco skyscraper, not a low-rise.
Yeah, they have some great
skyscraper.
buildings.
They will not let you use the bathroom even if you have to go really badly, and they're very rude about it. Fuck them.
Motherfuckers, man.
I hate people that are like that.
Yeah,
That's just so
I have to use
inhumane.
the bathroom. I'm not going in there to cook meth or something. I'm just a man. Sometimes I need to use a toilet.
It just makes you want to like drop trow and just do it right in their lobby, you know?
Exactly.
Now, what you do is you get the e-reader test, and then you piss yourself while they're asking you questions, and then you just say, "Oh, it was so intense," you know?
Yeah, then you can sue them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's foolproof. It's the perfect crime.
Yeah, that was definitely a good life decision, I think, suing the Scientologists. Okay, let's move on to the next question here. Have you guys read anything by Nassim Nicholas Taleb? I find him interesting and his Twitter presence amusing, especially his phrase BS fenders, but I can't say I really understand most of his work, and I also struggle to find anyone on the left who engages with his stuff. Have either of you read much of it? So I have not.
Done? Have you,
Leo, or no?
Yeah. I read several of his books. Basically, his claim to fame was he wrote Black Swan after the financial crisis, and he's just talking about ergodicity and fat tail risk, like this. The common economics models would use really simple statistics that don't take in the ergodicity into account, and that's why they failed. And he writes in really simple terms about why like conventional wisdom in a lot of these fields and just what you'd call Western conventional wisdom, why it's wrong. And he's really into Mediterranean culture and like Phoenicians, and his sort of proposal is that the if we would think more like Mediterraneans, we would have a better society. He's cool. I got no problems with Nicholas. He does good. He does a good job, and he gives his books away for free if you're a poor man, so you can get the PDFs without a problem.
Ooh, that sounds good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I do think like afternoon naps would be a good thing to introduce to our culture.
Yeah, little siestas. Yeah.
Yeah. I pulled out the books the other day, and I was going to read through them just because they do have like a lot of little, I don't know, like it's written really a lot of it like as aphorisms and stuff, and like he writes I don't know, he writes in a certain way that I find infuriating at some level, because it's just a lot of it is it's like pronouncements and stuff kind of thing. Like he's saying it as if he's like some super genius or something that's figured it out, and a lot of the time it's more that he's like saying something that's pretty simple that people miss and stuff. And so I think it's good. I like it because it's like just fun kind of like pop stuff to read kind of thing. But like it's also like, I don't know, it's not the style that I'm used to. So it's like I find it hard to get through sometimes. But yeah, I mean the basic the thing that like Leo was saying is that his kind of one of his insights is this idea that like there's always a lot of economic models, or any type of model really. There's like low risk things or low likelihood things that have so large effects that if they happen, they swamp everything that in the model kind of thing. Like they dominate the model in that respect. And that is so common that those occur in reality, because there's just like it's almost like a reality is like a sequence of those events happening then, because so therefore the larger models often have no relevance really. So something like an example would probably be something like the pandemic or something, maybe, where there was maybe like small chance that we kind of knew in the back of our heads or something, maybe that a pandemic would happen someday, and then we would it would like destroy lots of economic growth and all that kind of stuff. But there's no day to day there was no real planning for that in our models, really. Like there was maybe like some people had things day to day that they kind of thought about. It wasn't integrated into our decision making at all, so that like once it kind of emerges on us as a total surprise, and makes all of the other predictions that we made just look stupid in retrospect, because it's the random thing. And it's the same kind of thing, the example that he gives is with like the financial crisis and stuff, where all the people looking at it before in 2006 and stuff were probably, most of them were like, well, for a total crash to happen, 10 things would happen at the same time that would all go wrong, and because that's extremely unlikely, we don't have to build that into our models much. And all 10 things did go wrong, so therefore stuff like that. I don't know, I find that interesting. But yeah, he does have like a kind of a pompous way of speaking, that, and he like ridicules people a lot and stuff. Then so I don't know, I kind of was wary about it at that level too. So, and there's also people that kind of there was someone on the Ray Zone that said the opposite, that like all this kind of stuff in risk management is actually overcompensated for, that like they worry about risk too much, which I don't know if that's true, but that was kind of their grievance about it. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's like really hard to write that aphoristic type of literature without sounding like, a Nietzsche asshole, like orating from the top of a beautiful Swiss mountain.
Yeah. He has like a aphorism kind of thing that he talks about a lot. I think he has a new book. It's called like a relevant to recent book called like Skin in the Game. And it is true that like, I don't know, it's even just hearing that like saying or something, I was kind of thinking about that. That's why I pulled out the books, because I was like, there is this kind of truth that like, I don't know, it's like a good sorting thing for Twitter and stuff, is that like you kind of have to think what percentage involvement or whatever, or like what involvement you have in a particular problem or issue or whatever, and its relevance to you, because otherwise you're just kind of blowing hard about whatever kind of thing, So, if you're not willing to like sort of quantify it or put it into your model, or, actually build it into your life somehow, then it's like, what's the point kind of thing? So, yeah.
I think to tie this back to what we were talking about earlier with the pictures of texts and the pronouncements about what we should do about the police. There's a part in Skin in the Game where he's talking about academia becoming like an athletic contest where the first person to do something is the best and gets the rewards.
Right, and academia, like in its nature, is much closer to how you guys are describing this guy, which is like conventional wisdom is wrong. Somehow that got flipped over in the past few hundred years.
Yeah, and he talks about Wittgenstein, I mean, and he says that anything that smacks of competition destroys knowledge, and in philosophy the winner is the one who finishes last, which makes sense, because obviously the truth is going to be the thing you arrive at after you get it wrong several times.
Yeah,
that's a good point. Yeah, and there is this kind of tendency, especially in political culture, to discount people that have learned it all or something like that kind of thing. Like it's the people that have been kind of the most helpful even to like the left-wing cause so far in the last few years have really been people that were almost like preserved in ice 40 years ago or something, and unlocked in like like Bernie Sanders or Corbyn or something, where they haven't really because there's like a huge tendency in politicians to just get worse now and not learn from anything, and not they just there's no like I don't know. There's no.
You get punished for growth because the ideology is so fixed.
Yeah.
So
I always wonder that. Yeah.
These people who can they adapt, but they start with a reasonable framework and get sidelined, and then all of a sudden there's we can tell we're on the precipice of a crisis, and we're like, hey, what do we do now? This guy who was there the last time this happened.
Yeah.
All right, guys, should we do one more?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. Okay. The other day I encountered an Australian. He called me a Sheila and threw a Foster's beer can at my head. When will someone come up with a final solution for these nasty parasites down under?
That was supposed to
So-
be the final solution, was Australia. They just happened to make lemonade out of it, you know? I'll wear shorts
Yeah.
and, like, harass people. Do Molly and shit.
I gotta say, though, the Foster's beer can is sort of, I don't know, that doesn't seem right. Australians don't really do that. Foster's stuff, right?
I don't know. I think they'd probably be upset by the caricature. I thought the final solution for Australia was that Go Whitlam coup thing that put Australia permanently under the U.S. in the hegemony.
Oh, I'm not familiar with what you're talking about.
Once again, you've stumped everybody.
Basically, this guy called Kerr was a CIA asset. Sir Malcolm Kerr, I think his name is. I'm trying to do this off the top of my head.
Yeah, I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Sorry.
We sort of asked you to show your work immediately.
Anyway, Whitlam wanted to get rid of the U.S. military presence in Australia, and he was kind of a democratic socialist type of guy. And so the CIA set up a coup for him, and they were successful. The guy who succeeded him in the coup had a really failed career, but they haven't been able to get independent of our umbrella since then. And I think Australians, the ones who aren't in their political class, if you talk to Australian people, they're really disgusted by the people. They're politicians, and they're sort of worship of any second-rate or third-rate UK type like politician, political scientist, advisor, academic who comes to Australia, and they just expect to be treated like they're still the masters, and they get that treatment. It sucks. It's I don't know. I'm not sure where I'm going with this answer, but I think Australia needs to rise up and become the leader of a new non-aligned nations movement, and let's see, stop digging holes in the interior, because the island's gonna sink.
Yeah. Well, I think they have to sort of, right now they're almost like a South Africa, a white enclave in the southeast. And I think that what they need to do is build a federation with Indonesia and the countries around them, socialist United States of, I don't know, like the Pacific or something.
It's all these 7-foot tall guys
Pacific
like
Rim.
lumbering through fucking Indonesia. I think that sounds great. Yeah.
Yeah, and then and have freedom of movement within that too, so that just basically disappears within a few years. And yeah, I think that would be fine. That would be like a working start, and then we'll see what happens after that.
They need to expand their broadband access too. I know that's a big thing.
Oh yeah, they're always getting those hard caps on the broadband.
Yeah, gamers' rights.
Gamers' rights, man.
I saw a really funny clip. I don't know exactly what it's from, if it's like from a TV show or a movie or something, but it was obviously Australian, and it's like kind of like a war room. It's got like all the generals and the president or prime minister, whatever it is in Australia, and they're all like around this table, and they're talking about like their policy and their plans and stuff. And so the guy's like, let me get this straight. So we want to increase the military budget. And they're like, yep. And we want to do this to protect our country. And like, yep. In particular, our trade routes. Yep. And we are protecting them from China. And they're like, yep, China. And our primary trade partner is China. So we're protecting our trade route to China from China. And they're like, yes. And no one sees a problem with this. Nope. Yeah, does anyone happen to know what that clip is from? I'd like to watch the whole thing.
No, I don't know.
Okay. I'll just have to keep an eye out then. All right. Well, I guess that'll do it for this episode. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, thanks.
It was beautiful to talk to you all. I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
that was wonderful.
I'm sorry I didn't have more anecdotes about wearing masks and things like that.
I think
like-
people are kind of tired of that.
Yeah,
anyways,
yeah,
you
that's
know?
like the only thing people can talk about. You know, we're a bunch of transgressive, problematic dudes. You know, we're gonna buck the trends.
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. If you would like to have another episode of You Can't Win every week, you can subscribe to our Patreon, and you will get that. And you will also get access to our Discord, where you can chat with us and our community. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.